Have you ever thought about how the people who live in the White House spend their days? To put it mildly, it's hard to understand. The first family doesn't just live in a house. They live in a complex that is a mix of a resort and a museum. The building is called the White House. The picture we see in movies is very different from the real one. This is because the movie version leaves out some strange parts of the real thing. For example, the president doesn't buy his own food and doesn't clean up after the doll. He also doesn't pay for himself to have fun. Let's look at how each of the past presidents overcame big problems while doing their jobs as patriotic Americans. Number 1. A beehive that can be found on the White House grounds. Like Buckingham Palace, the White House has its own small honey production on the grounds of the estate, just like Buckingham Palace. It is thought that more than 35,000 first bees have made their homes on the grounds of the White House. Official beekeepers are in charge of taking care of these bees. In 2009, this new building at the White House, which looks like a beehive, was put up. Before that, there had never been a building like this. Number 2. One of the most interesting things about the accommodations the residence has to offer is the storehouse. Have you ever heard that the White House has its own place to store things? I haven't either. It is one of the most interesting rooms in the White House because it has furniture that used to belong to other presidents. Also, any new president who moves into the White House with only a few pieces of furniture will find it to be a treasure trove. In 2009, Barack and Michelle Obama didn't bring much with them to the White House. But they didn't worry about it because the storehouse had everything they needed. Some of the art in the building, like the Georgia O'Keeffe collection and paintings by Norman Rockwell, are better known than others. Rich people from all over the world brought gifts and treasures to the area, such as rugs, four-poster beds, and antiques. The place is full of these treasures as well as a wide range of works of art. Number 3. The White House will only serve wines that are made in the United States of America. Have you ever heard anything about the wine that the White House serves? If that's the case, what do you know about it? This list only includes wines that were made in the United States, specifically in California, Idaho, and Virginia. Since French wine was taken off the menu while Ford was president, it is safe to say that it would have been hard to find anything European there while he was in charge. Number 4. How close a dental office or practice is to the patient. The first family doesn't have to call a dentist to get dental work done, because there is a dentist office in the basement of the White House. Intriguingly, the basement is home to more than just a dentist office. For example, one business sells flowers, and another does carpentry work. There are also these other businesses in the basement. Number 5. If the president's children want to, they can have their proms at the White House. Have you ever heard that formal events like proms are held at the White House? In 1975, Susan Ford, the first daughter, hosted one of these parties. At the time, the girl, who was 17, invited her friends from Holton Arms School. She was in her last year of high school. If you thought it was just another publicity stunt to show off of how rich they were, you would be wrong. Ford's classmates paid for the prom with the money they made from a bake sale at school. Susan Ford and her 21-year-old college-age date continued the party they had been having in the East Room. The party went on until well after midnight. Number 6. Cockroaches and mice live in the building's western wing. No longer is there anything that can be called perfect. This is also true of the White House, which isn't perfect and needs care on a regular basis. Mice were found in the White House's Situation Room and the Navy's Mess Hall in 2017. As a result, the White House sent out a number of requests for repairs and pest control. Also, it was found that roaches lived in the building's western wing. Number 7. The White House has terrible Wi-Fi for its visitors. If your Wi-Fi is as fast as lightning, the first family may find themselves feeling jealous of you. CBS says that the Obama girls were frustrated by the many dead Wi-Fi spots they tried to use. After 2016, the problem got a little better when White House staff started live streaming the events on Facebook. This let us know that the Wi-Fi was getting better. Since then, things have been slowly getting better to a greater degree. Number 8. There are new pieces of furniture in every room of the White House. A picture of George Washington was one of the few original pieces of art and furniture that survived the fire that British forces started in the White House in 1814. This painting was also the only piece of furniture that made it out of the fire. How did it get away from the fire even though it was so close? Dolley Madison, who was married to James Madison, saved the portrait when the unfortunate fire happened. Number 9. When you move into the White House, you should stick to the rules that have been set up. When compared to how long it looks like it would take to move into the White House, it takes much longer to move into a normal home. Some of the ushers and movers had a lot of training, so they can now move everything inside the White House in about 6 hours. This has made them better at what they do. 90 movers and ushers worked hard to reach the goal, and their hard work paid off when they were successful. Number 10. The first family gets to watch movies before anyone else. Most likely you don't know this, but in the 1940s, the White House had a theater built with seats for 40 people, and those seats are still there today. It's interesting that Hollywood is happy to give the White House Family Theater their movies, even ones that weren't made available to the public at first. This shows that Hollywood thinks the White House Family Theater is important. The Guardian says that George W. Bush had a great time going to see the 3 Austin Powers movies and other action movies. Austin Powers and Goldmember is one of the movies on this list. Number 11. The president pays for his own meals by taking money out of his wallet. Is there anything else that can compare to getting a meal for free? At the very least, the first family won't have to deal with this. The president's monthly expenses include the cost of their meals, whether it's breakfast, brunch, or dinner. This is true for every meal the president eats. But the money that the American people give is used to pay for meals at official White House events. It's important for people in general to know this. Number 12. The first family can make their own breakfast every day. So that the White House can still feel like a normal home, a separate kitchen has been set up inside the living area. There are no people who work in this kitchen. Reports in the Wall Street Journal say that when her daughter was younger, Hillary Clinton would make scrambled eggs for her by hand. Number 13. Renovating the White House's rooms and public spaces that are already there. It is common for the new president to be able to change a few things in the Oval Office. The most common change is to move the area rug. Laura Bush, the former First Lady, had it changed for her husband's office. And Barack Obama, the previous president, had the quotes added to the area rug. The respective First Ladies made both of these changes. Some presidents have kept the same furniture in the Oval Office the whole time they were in office. When it's time to redecorate, there are fewer rules about the living quarters than there are about other parts of the ship. Not only are the president's children allowed to put up posters in their rooms, but they can also use works of art to decorate their rooms. Thank you so much for watching this video. Stay tuned for more.